This is The Unhurried Mama, a space for mothers who are tired of holding it together and ready to actually land. I'm Michelle, and I'm a mom, a writer, but not an expert. I'm here as someone still figuring this out, doing it my way, and refusing to pretend it's perfect. Every week, we sit together and untangle one piece of the parenting knot. No tips or fixes, I promise. Just the mess, the science, and the path back to you. So pour yourself some coffee or tea, close the door, and let's begin right where we are. Last week, I told you about the tornadoes. The way I'd whirl through the house, so reactive, I didn't even see what was in my path until it was too late. This week, I'm telling you what happened when my body stopped me. The spill, the bathroom floor, the hand on the doorknob, and the knock that undid me in ways I did not expect. Though you'll have to wait until next week to hear what happened after I opened the door. This is the story of what my body knew before my brain did, and the nervous system science that finally helped me make sense of it all. I was working from home, building a business, chasing the next launch, the next promotion, the next proof that I was doing something that mattered. And my kids, they were right there, in the same four walls, homeschooling, waiting. One morning, I was upstairs in my office, finishing a flash sale promo email. Just one more thing, just 10 more minutes. My daughter came up the stairs. Mama, can we do breakfast? And then science? 10 more minutes, honey, I'm almost done. She left. I kept typing. 10 minutes later, she came back. Mama? I know, just a little longer, I promise. I didn't notice my shoulders were up by my ears until I went to reach for my cold tea and felt the knot in my neck. Just finish this, you're almost done. They can wait 5 more minutes. But my temples felt clamped. My breath was strained, and somewhere underneath the typing, there was a voice I didn't want to hear. You're doing it again. 30 minutes later, maybe longer, I finally closed my laptop and went downstairs. They were sitting at the table, withdrawn, half pissed off, half relieved that I was finally there. And the look on their faces? Contempt. I'd broken something, some trust I didn't even know I was holding. I was grinding to create income so I could say yes to them more often. But what was the real point? I could say yes to them right now in the littlest things they asked for, and that's all they needed. But I couldn't quit, because I'd been running this race my whole life. And then one morning, I ran straight into a wall. We were supposed to be at the optometrist by 9 a.m. It was already 8:37, and the kids weren't even dressed yet. I still had to feed them, get them in the car, and drive across town. I'd woken up late myself, worked past 1 a.m. the night before, and forgot to set an alarm. My jaw was already stiff. I was moving too fast, grabbing things without looking, trying to force the morning back on track. And then the bowl tipped. Coconut milk, the last of it, spilled all over the floor, and I lost it. Why do you always make a mess? My son winced. That full body flinch. The, oh no, I'm in trouble now, look. And for 1 or 2 breaths, I stayed there, standing over the spill, looking at him, looking at me. His eyes were peering up at my face. He wasn't hurt, exactly. Just waiting to see what I'd do next, waiting to find out if it was safe to move. And I saw myself in that stillness, the way I had made him small, the way he had learned to brace himself. That's the face I couldn't look away from. Not because I wanted to, but because it finally made me stop. I slipped into the bathroom, closed the door, and slid down the wall. My first thought wasn't wise. It was mean. I'm the absolute worst. I did it again. Why can't I just get this right? The guilt looped like a reel with no off switch. What's wrong with me? I told them I'd do better, and here I was again. I don't know how long I sat there, but it was long enough for the shame to settle into my chest like wet sand. And then I thought, I shouldn't be in here this long. They'll think something's wrong. So I stood up, wiped the snot on my sleeve, looked at myself in the mirror. Eyes red, cheeks blotchy, the kind of wreck you can't hide. I put my hand on the doorknob, but my body froze. It wasn't a thought. It was a signal. With a knot in my stomach, I heard a whisper that said, "Not yet. You're not ready." But I told myself I had to go back out there. Just wipe your face, open the door, and be the mom they need. I stood there, locked in place, hand on the knob, not knowing what the right thing to do was. I was attempting to put myself back together in the privacy of the bathroom, wanting to be strong for them instead of letting myself be seen, vulnerable, and falling apart. And then I heard a knock. I had been running on fumes for so long. The constant hum of, "Not enough, do more, keep going." And every time I tried to willpower my way through it, I ended up struggling even more. It's because I wasn't regulated. The blow-ups weren't evidence that I was a terrible mother, but that I'm human. They were proof I have a nervous system with capacity limits, and when I ignore those limits long enough, my system will take over and make me crash. The cultural message so many of us have absorbed and still carry is that good mothers never fall apart, that if we just try harder, we'll get there. But that's not how nervous systems work. We're not robots, for crying out loud. We're humans with bodies that need rest, nourishment, safety, and connection. And when we don't give ourselves those things, we'll go into survival mode with fight, flight, or shutdown. But let me tell you what happened when I finally stopped pretending to hold it together. It was a few weeks after that first spill on that rushed morning. Same kid, same coconut milk, same tipped bowl on the counter. And I felt it rising again. The heat in my chest, the tightness in my jaw, the voice in my head screaming, "Are you kidding me? We just did this." But this time, instead of yelling or swallowing it, or locking myself in the bathroom, trying to pull it together, I just let go. I set the bowl down. I looked at my son, and I said, "I need a minute. I'm not mad at you. I just need to go sit down." I walked into my bedroom, didn't shut the door all the way, didn't hide, and I let myself feel it. The overwhelm, the exhaustion, the edge I had been living on for so long, I'd forgotten there was any other way. I didn't cry this time. I just sat on the edge of the bed with my hands on my knees and took deep breaths, letting my nervous system do whatever it needed to do without managing it. Maybe it was 5 minutes, or maybe 10. I told myself the time didn't matter. Just let it move through you. And when I came back out, my son was standing in the doorway. He didn't look scared, just present. He said, "Mama, are you okay?" And I almost said, "I'm fine," because that's what I always said. That's what I thought good moms were supposed to say. But instead, I sat down next to him on the couch and said, "Yeah, Bubba, I just needed a minute. My body was telling me I hit my limit, and I listened." And he nodded. Then he asked, "Do you want me to help you clean it up?" And we did. Together, in silence, and it felt so good. I didn't expect that he wasn't scared of me. He wasn't worried he'd broken me. He just saw me as human. And that was the first time I realized maybe falling apart wasn't the failure. Maybe pretending I was fine all the time was. That night, I told my husband what happened, how I didn't hide, how I just let myself sit with it. And he said, "Good." And I questioned, "Is it really though? Am I allowed to do that?" Still in disbelief. He looked at me like I had just asked if I was allowed to breathe. And it hit me. I'd been waiting for permission I never needed. So I went looking for language to make sense of it. And that's when I found this concept called the window of tolerance. There's a zone where you can handle stress without flipping into survival mode. Within that window, you can think clearly, respond rather than react, and stay present with your child even when things are hard. But when you leave that window, when the stress gets too big or lasts too long, your ancient programming takes over. You go into fight, yelling, snapping, the sharp tone, flight, retreating, shutting down the conversation, or freeze, numbness, dissociation, the blank stare. The first time the milk spilled, I was outside my window. The second time, a few weeks later, I stayed inside it. Okay, barely, but I did. And that's what made the difference. What I finally understood was that the yelling, the numbness, lying on the couch, unable to move, weren't flaws in my character. They were biology. My system protecting me from a life that had become unsustainable. Only then could I start asking a different question. Not, how do I never lose it? But, what do I need to change so I'm not living at my edge all the time? And that question made me look at the whole picture. Not just the moments, but the life that kept pushing me to my edge. For me, that meant I couldn't just manage my nervous system better while growing a business that demanded I be on all the time. The structure itself was the problem. So the real shift didn't happen overnight. It took at least 6 months, maybe closer to a year or longer, from the moment I started loosening my grip on my business, deciding that work wasn't going to be my whole identity anymore. And only then did the smaller practices start to actually hold. At first, it was, "Oh, I did it again." Then, a few months later, it was, "Oh my God, this is happening right now. I can change this." And eventually, after about a year, I'd get to, "Why do you guys..." Wait, nope, I'm not going to say it. I know where this is going. Not going to let it happen. But that progression wasn't just about learning to regulate. It was about changing the life that kept me dysregulated in the first place. So here's what that looks like in the day-to-day. The micro practices that started working once the bigger stuff had shifted. Naming it before I lose it. Not just when I'm about to blow, but when I'm starting to feel the edge. I say, "This doesn't feel good. I need a moment." And what I've noticed is, when I name it, my kids don't take it personally. They just let me go. But when I don't say anything, they fill the silence with their own story. And we all do this, don't we? It's almost always, "Mama is mad at me. I did something wrong." That's the fear. So the practice isn't just take space when you need it. It's name what's happening so your kids don't fill the silence with something untrue. Because when you name it, even just, "I need a minute," they have something to hold on to. And that's co-regulation. And one more thing, this one sounds almost too simple. I started keeping a granola bar in my coat pocket when we were out. Or I'd leave a banana on the counter in plain sight at home. Because half the time when I'm losing it, my blood sugar's tanked. I haven't eaten since breakfast. It's 3 p.m. and my body is overextended. So I eat. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, that's enough to soften the edge just enough that I can take a breath and choose what happens next. It's just biology working its magic. And as it turns out, a lot of what we call patience is actually just a fed, well-rested, regulated system. And the granola bar is just one version of it. Sometimes the answer is leave the room, cry, text a friend, cancel the thing. And sometimes the answer is I can't do any of that right now, so I'm just going to survive this moment and repair later. Both are okay. Both are human. And some days I forget all of it. Some days I'm already gone before I remember to name it, or eat, or take a breath. But I'm getting better at it, and that's the work. So the question I want to leave you with this week is, where do you feel the tension? Where are you clenching? Let's do something right now. Wherever you are, just put your hand over your heart. Let it rest there. Take one breath, in through your nose, out through your mouth, and ask, what am I holding right now that I don't need to carry? It's okay if you don't have an answer. Just ask the question and let your body tell you. Let's take one more breath, in and out. And notice, did anything shift? Even just a little? That's co-regulation with yourself. And it takes 20 seconds. For me, the place I hold it is my jaw. I didn't even realize I was clenching until my dentist told me I was grinding my teeth at night. So now, a few times a day, I check in. Am I holding something I don't need to carry right now? And sometimes the answer is just yes. And that's enough to let me soften. Something I've noticed is that my body knows before my brain does. Like I'll be mid-sentence with my kid, explaining something, trying to stay patient, and my chest will tighten. And in that moment, I have a choice. I can keep going because my mind says, finish the conversation. Or I can trust my body, which is saying, stop now. And when I override my body, I always regret it. Because 2 minutes later, I'm yelling, or I'm shut down, or I'm saying something I'll have to repair later. So lately I've been practicing. What if I trusted the tightness? What if I didn't need a reason? Just my body said stop. So I'm stopping. Some days I catch it. I notice, I name it, and I come back. And some days I don't come back very quickly at all. Some days I repair hours later. And I'm learning that the goal was never to stay regulated all of the time. It's to notice when I've left and find my way back. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's messy, and I'm learning to let both be okay. But the puzzle I keep turning over is this. How do I hold grace for myself when I mess up, and also hold accountability so I don't just let myself off the hook? I don't know yet, but I think the answer lives somewhere in the coming back, not in never leaving. So where is it for you? Your shoulders? Your breath? The way you're bracing for impact, even when there's nothing coming? And if you want to go deeper this week, ask this. What in my life is keeping me dysregulated? What structure, what story, what commitment won't let me rest? For me, it's the grip of chasing the proof that I'm enough, like I'm chasing a finish line that keeps moving. And honestly, just admitting that is enough to let it loosen. You don't have to know the answer. Just notice and see if you can let one moment be messy. You don't have to repair it perfectly. You just have to come back. Next week, we're finishing the story, the knock, the repair, and a rupture I didn't see coming. The one where I heard my father's voice in mine and had to let go of the thing I thought made me a good mother. If you've ever had to quit something to save your nervous system, that one is for you. If this is landing, subscribe wherever you listen. Share it with a mom who needs to hear it. And until next time, let one moment be messy. Notice what it feels like to stop fighting it and see if your breath can bring you back.